Hello everyone, Braden here. Today I have a package that we are going to dive into together. So here we have our package in all of its brown glory. It's a pretty unimpressive bag, but it doesn't need to be impressive. It's entirely functional. As you can see, there's a couple goodies in there. I'm only going to go through two of them today. First, we're going to start with something nice and small. I've got this little bottle of ink here. Winsor & Newton 951 Black Indian ink. I bought this ink specifically to go with the items that I bought, the other items that I bought. I did not, however, realize that this bottle would be this small. I don't know. I was just not expecting it's such a tiny little container. Here it is next to my finger for reference. Maybe this finger would be a little bit better to look at. It's so tiny. But I kind of like it. I was initially surprised at its size, but you know, I kind of like it like that. It's a lot different than the other one I have. Over here, if you just give me a moment. I have this much larger Waterman bottle. Well, it's not too much bigger, I guess. But it holds a lot more ink. Like, what's this one? This one's you can't really tell. 0.47 U.S. fluid ounces, 14 milliliters. This one's 50 milliliters, which is a lot more than 14 comparatively, I suppose. But we're not going to be using this one because I mostly use this one, this Waterman, for the fountain pen that I have, which is a Muji fountain pen, I believe. I think this is the only one I have. But that was our first item. Oops. That was our first item for today. Our second little treat is contained in this very cosmically patterned box. As you can clearly tell, it's a dip pan. Let's see. You can't really tell anything from here, but it is. Oh, one of my lights just turned off. I didn't even realize that. You can see it kind of right there that says silvery. The packaging on this pen is very pretty. I like it a lot. It is a little crinkly when I rub right there on this lower part. The top part doesn't really do it. Oh wait, it kind of does it right there. But that's no biggie. It's not the box that counts, but what's inside. What is inside is this very beautiful glass dip pen. Yeah, that is very nice. It looks even better in person than it did when I was looking at it on Amazon, which is where I bought it from. I'm not sure who the seller was necessarily because I did not bother to look, which is probably somewhat irresponsible on my part, but that's okay because it turned out to be a solid purchase. This right here is the silvery part that was mentioned on this part of the box, because this pen has several color options. You can choose colors like green and blue and pink. There might have been a black one, I'm not really sure. But this pen is very elegant. There's all these nice grooves. It is kind of blurry. I don't know how to. There we go. There's all these nice grooves which I believe hold the ink. And then it's got this nice little grip. It is a little bit awkward to hold, but it's not too bad. It tapers down to a nice little spot. And the plan is for today to use this pen and this ink, to make a nice little drawing. Okay, so first off, I would like to talk a little bit about how I did not end up using this Winsor & Newton ink. It just was, as you can kind of see where I sketch on the Lego pad a little bit, it's not the most consistent writer, and I think that just has something to do with the viscosity of the ink, perhaps, and just its general sort of makeup. I don't know if it's a chemical thing necessarily, but I'm gonna assume that it might be just the chemical compounds, the mixture that makes this ink. I don't think it pairs very well with the glass dip pen. So instead, I use the ink I mentioned earlier in this video when I was comparing the sizes of the two ink bottles. This Waterman Paris ink worked a lot better. I'm not really sure what the difference is between these two inks. I guess it's just, you know, how they're made. The processes in which they are created is the difference. I don't really know, though. I'm not much of an ink expert. And I've also never used dip pens before of any kind. And so I don't really know how inks work with different types of dip pens. I assume that there's a difference, possibly based on other types of dip pens, but I don't really know. I do plan on trying this ink again, the Winsor Newton ink, in my next video, because I do have a different type of dip pen that I bought that for something in my mind makes me think that it would work better with the Winsor Newton ink. And if it doesn't, then oh well, I'm sure I will find some other use for this ink, this little bottle. It kind of makes me glad that I did end up with a little bottle, because if it doesn't end up working, then, you know, it's less to have to end up using for something, you know. I won't have to make such an ambitious project, or possibly multiple projects, as I might if I had gotten the next size up bottle, which I don't even know what this next size up was. It was bigger than this one, though. I can say that much. But this Waterman ink worked really well with this pen, and I don't really know what else to say about it other than if you're gonna buy this glass pen, I don't know any of the other inks that would work well with it. So for now, all I can recommend is the Waterman Paris. I used black ink, which is the only kinds of ink colors I have. I thought about maybe getting some red, and yeah, I think the next color I snag of an ink bottle will be red, and it'll probably be this Waterman ink, or maybe thinking about trying Noodler's ink next. Kind of getting into this dip pen world a little bit, maybe, because I don't know. There's just something intriguing about dipping a pen in ink and then using it to write or draw. Maybe it's some kind of some sort of living mentally in the past a little bit, experiencing this. It kind of makes you feel like you're in a different time frame, perhaps. I don't really know. It's hard to say. It's hard to feel like you're in the past when you're sitting in front of two daylight bulbs with a camera looming over your head as you draw a picture to post a video of on the internet. But maybe, I don't know. There's just something very satisfying about drawing a picture with a dip pen. I really liked this pen, by the way. The grip looks kind of awkward because it's twisted and it's hard to get all your fingers in a good spot on it. but it's not as awkward as it appears, thankfully. I didn't notice any discomfort while holding it. I haven't noticed any discomfort after, sort of, like an after effect from holding it. I think the grip is surprisingly ergonomic. The nib, it works like a pen nib would, I guess. You dip it in the ink. You do kind of have to, tap it on the edge of the bottle very gently. I kind of started a habit of sort of twisting it along the lip of the brim of the bottle so that I wasn't tapping it so much, because I feel like, tapping it is obviously more dangerous because, you might break the tip, because it does taper into this very fine point, which I'm a little bit paranoid might break one day. I feel like if this pen's gonna break somehow, it's gonna be that little part that chips or cracks or something. But overall, it is a very pleasant pen. I could dip it all the way in my ink bottle, my 50 milliliter Waterman, and just a little bit of ink gets on the sphere that separates the nib from the handle. So, and my fingers were above that, so I didn't make a huge mess, which is nice. It's nice that this dip pen is nice and clean. It doesn't make a huge mess. I think that's definitely a plus, because, when you're dealing with bottles of ink and, you're taking ink out and in and putting it on the page and all that stuff, I think it's very easy to make a mess. My only fear is that one day I will knock over one of these bottles trying to dip the pen in, and oh man, that would be such a disaster. I hope that never happens. But anyway, this picture that I drew is a picture I found on Instagram. I can't remember who it is. It's somebody famous, but their name eludes me. I don't know. I remember seeing it after I finished drawing the picture, because I looked at my reference real quick for some reason. Just some unbeknownst urge to see it one more time. It might have just been chance. I really have no idea. But I remember seeing the name and I was like, oh, I kind of know who that is. And I was going to mention it, but then I kind of forgot about it. Right here you can see me shading on the neck a little bit. I was trying to incorporate some of the shading just to give it a bit more depth, I suppose. Not really sure the correct terminology. But I tried to, put some of the shading on there just to add a little bit more flair to the image. And you would kind of see at the end that I went in off camera and added more shading. But anyway, that's all the time we have today, folks. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I hope that you will join me next time for the next video. Goodbye, and I will see you later.